Every morning, you stand at the sink and do the same thing. You squeeze a strip of paste onto plastic bristles, you scrub for 2 minutes, you spit, you rinse, and you tell yourself you've just protected your teeth from decay. It feels like the most basic act of survival there is. But the real answer is far stranger. Because for most of human history, nobody did this. No toothbrush, no toothpaste, no floss, no dentist, no fluoride. And yet, when scientists dig up the skulls of ancient hunter-gatherers, they find something that should be impossible. Straight teeth, strong jaws, and almost no cavities at all. How? You've been told a simple story your whole life. Sugar rots teeth. Brushing saves them. Ancient people must have suffered horribly, chewing on their food with mouths full of pain. It's a clean, comforting story. It's also mostly wrong. The truth begins in your mouth, right now, with something you can't see. There are billions of bacteria living on your teeth this very second. Most of them are harmless. Some of them are even helping you. But a few species, when they're fed the right fuel, turn your mouth into a war zone. The most famous of them has a name: Streptococcus mutans. Remember it, because it's the villain of this entire story. Streptococcus mutans has one job. It eats sugar. When you feed it sugar, it produces acid. That acid slowly dissolves the hard enamel on your teeth, drilling microscopic holes that grow into what you call a cavity. No sugar, no acid, no cavity. So the real question was never really about brushing. It was always about food. Now travel back, not 100 years, not 1,000. Go back 30,000 years to a world before farms, before villages, before bread. Your ancestors are hunter-gatherers. They eat what they can catch, dig, and pick. Meat, fish, roots, nuts, wild greens, tough, fibrous, gritty food that has to be torn and ground down with real effort. There is one thing almost entirely missing from their world: refined sugar. And there's barely any soft, sticky starch either. The exact fuel that Streptococcus mutans needs to wage its war simply isn't on the menu. So the bacteria stay quiet, outnumbered, starved, living in a mouth that never gives them what they crave. This isn't a guess. In 2013, a geneticist named Alan Cooper led a remarkable study at the University of Adelaide. His team did something clever. They didn't just look at ancient teeth. They looked at the hardened plaque stuck to those teeth, a fossilized crust called dental calculus. And locked inside that crust was ancient DNA, a frozen snapshot of the exact bacteria living in human mouths thousands of years ago. What did they find? The mouths of ancient hunter-gatherers were full of bacteria, but they were balanced, diverse, a healthy, stable little ecosystem where no single species could take over. The cavity-causing microbes were there, but they were weak. They had no power because they had no fuel. Then something changed, something that changed your mouth forever. Around 12,000 years ago, humans discovered farming. This is the moment everyone celebrates as the dawn of civilization. And it was. But it came with a hidden cost that nobody at the time could possibly have understood. Farming meant grain. Grain meant starch. Suddenly, for the first time, human beings were eating large amounts of soft, carbohydrate-rich food every single day. Streptococcus mutans had been waiting for exactly this. The fuel finally arrived. And in Cooper's ancient DNA, you can actually see the shift happen. As soon as farming spread, the balance in the human mouth collapsed. The friendly diversity shrank. The acid makers surged. For the first time in the human story, cavities began appearing in skulls at real, measurable rates. But even that was only the beginning. Because there was a second, far bigger disaster still coming. And it's the world you were born into. Fast forward again to the last 200 years. The Industrial Revolution arrives, and with it, two of the most destructive foods your teeth have ever met: refined white sugar and refined white flour, both stripped of all their fiber, both soft, sticky, and packed with the purest fuel Streptococcus mutans could ever dream of. Cheap sugar flooded the world. It went into everything, and human mouths which had survived hundreds of thousands of years in relative peace, descended into the age of the cavity almost overnight. So think about what that means. The explosion of tooth decay isn't ancient, it's modern. Your great-great-grandparents lived at the beginning of it. In the deep past, the problem barely existed. There's a dentist worth knowing about here. His name was Weston Price. In the 1930s, he became fascinated by a strange pattern. He traveled the world visiting isolated communities who still ate their traditional diets, far from cities and packaged food, villages in the Alps, islands in the Pacific, peoples who had never seen a tube of toothpaste in their lives, and over, he found the same startling thing: mouths full of strong, healthy, cavity-free teeth. Then he watched what happened when modern sugar and white flour arrived in those same communities. Within a single generation, the decay began. You have to sit with how upside down this is. The people with no toothbrushes had the healthy teeth. The people with dentists and drugstores full of dental products had the rot. It wasn't the brushing that made the difference. It was the plate. But food isn't the whole story. There's a second reason your ancestors' teeth were so strong, and it hides inside a word you rarely think about: chewing. Look at what ancient humans actually put in their mouths: raw vegetables, tough meat, fibrous roots, nuts still in their shells. This food demanded work, serious jaw-straining repetitive work, meal after meal, day after day, for an entire lifetime. And that constant hard chewing did something extraordinary for their mouths. It built them. A dental anthropologist named Peter Ungar has spent his career studying exactly this. He looks at the wear patterns on ancient teeth, reading them like tree rings, and what he describes is a mouth shaped by force. All that heavy chewing sent powerful signals to the growing jawbone, telling it to develop wide and strong. A big jaw has plenty of room, enough room for every tooth to come in straight, evenly spaced, with nothing crowded or crooked. Now look at your own jaw. From the moment you were born, you've eaten soft food. Cooked, blended, processed, mushy. Your jaw never had to fight for a single meal. So it grew smaller than your ancestors' jaws. Too small, often, for the teeth nature still tries to fit inside it. And that is the real reason so many people today need braces, and why so many have wisdom teeth that get painfully stuck with nowhere to go. Your teeth didn't shrink. Your jaw did. Isn't that a strange thought? Crooked teeth aren't a genetic curse from your ancestors. They're a message about how softly you've been fed. So let's put it all together. Ancient humans avoided cavities not through discipline, but through diet. No refined sugar to feed the acid-making bacteria. No soft flour to fuel decay. Tough food that scrubbed their teeth as they ate and built strong, spacious jaws in the process. Their clean mouths weren't a triumph of hygiene. They were a side effect of how they lived, which raises an uncomfortable question about you. Because you do brush. Twice a day, probably. You use the paste, the floss, the mouthwash, the checkups. You do everything the ancient human never did. And yet cavities are still one of the most common diseases on the entire planet. Almost every adult alive has had at least one. How can you be doing so much more and still losing a battle they barely had to fight? The answer is almost funny once you see it. You're not fighting the same battle, you're fighting a fire that you yourself keep pouring fuel onto. Every sweet coffee, every soda, every soft, sticky snack between meals. Each one is a fresh delivery of exactly what Streptococcus mutans has been waiting for since the dawn of farming. Your toothbrush isn't protecting you from an ancient enemy. It's cleaning up after a modern habit. This doesn't mean you should throw the toothbrush away. In the world you actually live in, surrounded by sugar on every shelf, brushing genuinely matters. It's real defense against a real threat. But it helps to understand what that threat truly is. It was never the missing toothbrush that gave ancient humans their perfect teeth. It was the missing sugar. And here's the part that stays with you. Your mouth hasn't changed. The same enamel, the same bacteria, the same ancient balance still lives inside you today. Streptococcus mutans is only ever as powerful as the meal you hand it. Feed it, and it wages war. Starve it, and it goes quiet, just as it stayed quiet for hundreds of thousands of years. So tomorrow morning, you'll stand at the sink again. You'll squeeze the paste, scrub the bristles, spit, and rinse. But now you know the deeper truth hiding behind that ordinary little ritual. You were never really protecting your teeth from the world. You were protecting them from your plate.